So as a little background, throughout the year of 2020 and the year of 2019, I lived in downtown Seattle. So I had my own little apartment. I was living alone, and I was right there on Fifth Avenue and Washington. If anybody knows Seattle, it's close, right next to Pioneer. And, aside from the fact that Seattle's already been battling with the homeless population going from bad to worse, it was getting that by itself was already enough to deal with in the city, because it's getting pretty out of hand, and it's getting pretty how can I say, it's really taking the value down from what people are willing to put up with for the type of prices that Seattle's asking you to pay.
Right.
And
so as far as homeless goes, like, you said there was like homeless people living on your street, or like
well, let's go put it this way. When I say outside my front door, I'm not even exaggerating. And so habitually you would find right outside the building, and in some cases they would even break in and actually
into the gated area.
Into the gated area, not even into the building.
Oh yeah, we're in.
I actually found multiple people crashing inside the laundry room.
Yeah, I remember that.
And so between the people being really mentally and just really just drugged out on whatever they're on, actually creating some pretty dangerous situations. You're kind of sort of, anything could play out right now by how this person is acting.
Yeah.
Anything.
Yeah, and so, just to piggyback on that, when I owned my cafe, I owned a cafe in North Seattle for 2 years, and, I'm a very compassionate person. If I see someone struggling, or, if I feel like I can help someone, I will. That usually for me doesn't mean giving them cash, but if they need food or, assistance in some way, maybe I might give them $1 or something, but I'm not gonna throw them $20 to go buy good drugs or whatever. But outside my cafe, I was cleaning up heroin needles and seeing those little orange caps, and we had multiple families who would come in for brunch every weekend, and I'm always having to clean up heroin needles and hoping that my customers don't see one, or some kid coming to the cafe doesn't run off to the side and pick it up. Yeah, so
no, it's bad,
it's
man.
tough, and there's homeless encampments, and so there's homeless. There is still homeless encampments, very close to where you were living.
Oh yeah, little villages.
Yeah,
just
and that and not I know pretty much anyone could. Under the wrong circumstances, anyone could be homeless. It's not something to be looked down upon. It is a problem, especially when there's a lot of drug use and mental illness, which I feel like is one of the major problems. Mm-hmm. But this does give us a good background on kind of the state of things in Seattle, and it is a very big contributing factor to civil unrest in the city. So that is really good.
It's definitely a big part, meaning there's been plenty of people already trying to help the situation, help the cause. This is before 2020. Apparently during 2020, the number I heard was that across the nation, but especially some of the bigger cities like California, bigger states like California, Washington, New York, the population for homeless people went up to 25-30% larger.
Wow, yeah.
During 2020. And I could actually, I could attest for that, meaning I physically saw that percentage with my own eyes, at least.
Yeah. And I would probably argue, I haven't seen the figures, but I would think that's probably been the trend for multiple years. I think 2020 was definitely added to that, but I've been seeing a huge increase in homeless people, over each year over the last 5-10 years.
Yeah, and so 2019, I had a few uncomfortable situations, but nothing that it was bad. Full grown man. It didn't put me in a position where I was I needed to call the cops. It was just slightly uncomfortable. 2020 hit, and I've already mentioned it to you, but I experienced multiple attacks to me as an individual from both homeless people and regular individuals that were not in the homeless category, working citizens.
Where you had a physical confrontation.
Physical confrontation, yeah. And both situations, I wanted nothing to do with it, meaning not only did I not start it, I didn't want to have any part in the situation. I won't go into too much depth. I guess the reason why I'm saying this is because I'm trying to set the tone as to how much violence I had already experienced firsthand 2020 by itself. Right. And it was it was so obvious, like how it got ramped up, meaning the interactions were just full of energy, ready to explode. Mm-hmm. And we can take some obvious reasons as to why. But then you top that off with 4 to 5 protests that are taking over the entire street as it comes in, with the whole 9 yards, the chants and the beating on the drums and the yelling and you know your typical stuff. And so I think it started right around March, right when the George Floyd incident happened.
Yeah, when
March, right?
George Floyd was killed.
Yes. And so at that point, I lived about 10-minute walk, 15-minute walk from Capitol Hill, which is where the autonomous zone was set up.
Yeah, the
CHOP.
Yeah.
And so I got front row seats from my apartment all the way from just even a few blocks up north, all the stuff that was going on in Seattle with the protests that were moving up and down and the people that were situated in the location. I was a little less around that area. I think you probably have more to say about that. I know I'm kind of going on here for a while, but this was the first year that I was really seeing these, or any protests really, happen habitually, in a very consistent manner, for a very specific reason.
Right.
And so before that, it was always just sort of seeing videos, documentaries, features, people, talking about the situation and showcasing it. It was never really like, oh, I was there, I saw that, this is going to happen again next week. Like, never like that. And so, but I still remember, even then, before I saw it for the first time in real life, in my life, happening right in my backyard, I remember always having a clear thought in my head, saying to myself, I'm all about problem solving. I'm all about it. Like, I love problem solving. I think that's one of the greatest things about life is that, like, there's always problems to solve. And so, but I always would see these protests from around the world, not even just the United States, around the world, third world countries, United States, and it just always seemed like it was never the most efficient way of going about things, because it seemed like so much of a mess had to happen in between for you to get a result on the other end.
Yeah, right.
So much commotion, right? In a way that I never believed in, which is, let's sort of flip the table up and just kind of see where the dice roll. All right, thanks for watching this clip from Appropriate Culture. If you want to watch the full episode, go ahead and check out us at appropriateculture.com. You can also check us out on social media platforms at Appropriate Culture. Like, subscribe, and we'll see you guys on the next one.